Good morning, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mahavani and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. Today is 25th March. Today is Sunday. I'm sure you all are enjoying your Sunday. With this, today we have Ram Navami as well. So first of all, let me wish all of you a very happy Ram Navami to you and of course to your family members and your friends. With this, dear friends, Ram and Ravan, I'm sure you know many things about Ram and Ravan, but today I would like to present a thing that I understand when I compare this Ram and Ravan. Ravan was considered as most knowledgeable, and if you compare Ravan and Ram, then we find that Ravan was more knowledgeable. Then as well we find that he was killed, right? He was considered as a demon king. The reason is that he was having knowledge, but just knowledge is not enough. Ram was not having that much knowledge when you compare Ram with Ravan, but what we find is that Ram was having this power of discrimination, Vivek Buddhi. He was able to identify what is wrong and what is right, and because of this Vivek Buddhi or power of discrimination, he was able to take right decisions. So let's hope and let's pray that Lord Ram bestows us with this power of discrimination on this Ram Navami day, so that we can also take right and proper decisions for our life. With this, this is my Facebook page here. You can download the PDF of this lecture from my Facebook page. StudyIQ's pen drive and tablet courses are available for you guys. Check out StudyIQ.com to know more about it. As you can see on your screen, we have many different items to cater, and there are more things on StudyIQ.com. Now today I'm going to discuss with you guys a topic. On this topic is basically on Clean India mission. What should be done? We are going to talk about out of box sort of idea. It is more ideological, and I believe that questions that will be asked in your mains examination based on this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Facts and figures, yes, they can help you, but too much of facts and figures will not help you. It is basically, even today we know the main problem that we are facing is not it's not about resources. As you can see on your screen, that between 1986 to 1999 about 9.4 million toilets were constructed, but in past 4 years we have constructed 49 million toilets, beg your pardon, 49 million toilets more were just constructed in this 4 years time. So it's not resources. We are trying our level best, but then as well we are seeing, and this is something very common, I'm sure you might have observed this thing, that people do they do relieve themselves in open, right? Open defecation is again or I must say that it is a very big issue culturally in our country, right? In terms of health as well, it is a big shame for us, no doubt. Now when this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was launched, after that what we are seeing is that 1.5 lakh villages, right? Out of this at present we have 2.45 lakh villages. They have this indoor toilet facilities, and after that 1.5 lakh they have this piped water. When you have piped water in your toilet, then there are high chances that people will use it, right? So again, it is about mindset. I hope you are getting this message here, or the things that you should read between the line. When it comes to Swachh Bharat, it's not lack of resources. It is more about changing the mindset, right? And it is the most difficult thing as well, to change this very old habit. We will find out today in this discussion, like what is the thing which is one particular thing that is basically not, or creating this big wall that we cannot pass. What is the whole this big problem when it comes to this Swachh Bharat? So National Sample Survey, NSSO, it says that 80% of rural households in 2014 reported that they have improved source of drinking water as well, because Swachh Bharat is associated with health as well. We know it very well, this mortality rate, and nowadays we are also seeing this advertisement that if you go out, or open defecation will lead to many diseases and things like that. So here again government is trying to pass this message that it will basically impact all of you. And there are many reports, there are so many reports and so many articles have been written on this thing, and on an average it is also said that somewhere around 50k is spent by per household, per family, and this can be reduced. The 50k is spent on health or diseases or things like that when you are hospitalized. So this is your, on an average, per year expense of a family, particularly in village. But this can be reduced just by making our environment or surrounding more clean. If we are living in a more clean surrounding, then we can change this thing. But we find here, we are advertising, we are doing everything we can, but still even today 6.4 villages, right, 6.4% of villages dump garbage in a designated dumping spot. And even today in city area or rural area, you find this piles of garbage. Cows are eating plastics, and dirty rivers and filthy drains, and this big mountains of garbage are there. And many a times you find this fire taking place in this big mountain, and they are adding more pollution and things like that. So this is the thing. And just constructing toilet is not going to be enough, right? If people are not using it, then it is going to be of no use. All households in next 4 years around our country will have toilets, but until and unless we don't, or if we are not able to change this mindset, right? Change of mindset is the most important thing, and this is the biggest challenge that we have even today. I'm sure you might have observed this thing even today, right? People believe in our country that cleanliness is a job of people from lower caste, right? They think that it is their responsibility to clean all this garbage, rather than considering it as a responsibility of everyone. It is not about lower caste or higher caste. It is not about rich or poor. Diseases, right? They don't discriminate. They will stick to your kids or your family members. So this is the thing. Now, when it comes to cleanliness, beautiful cities, of course, Europe, right, is a place where you find many beautiful cities, and cleanliness standard, of course, over there is quite high. Now, if we go back in the history of sanitation in Europe, then we find that sanitation drive in Western world started back in 1850s. So, of course, they took this very seriously. They had, you can say, early start, right? Quite early start when you compare them with ourselves. The other thing is, when it comes to ideology, or when it comes to belief, or how they see the things, perspective, Europeans don't believe, right? They don't consider this excreta, sweat and hair as polluting thing, right? And they don't take it as that badly as we do. That does not mean that of course they know that this sort of things they are not useful. Or nowadays we also see that many of these European countries, they are converting their waste into wealth, and we think that it is because of scientific development that they have over there. They are doing research and everything, but behind your scientific development, it is this culture, how you take things, how you are taking or watching these things, or you know what I mean, because their perspective is quite different. They don't consider this excreta, sweat and other things. They, of course, they know it is not going to be useful, but they know this thing as well. They are not that much shy, or you can say they are not just running away from this sort of things, right? And because of this thing, they have little resistance. So they don't feel ashamed, to be honest. They don't feel ashamed to clean their toilets and things like that. And this is something that I have personally seen as well. They don't feel ashamed of picking up a plastic, you can say, packet of wafer, and then chucking it in a designated bin. It is not considered as a lovely job. Over here, people will not do it. I know this is a sort of ego problem, you can say, or this belief problem that we have in our country, right? If we find something, a plastic bottle or whatever, then it will take, means it's a big challenge for us to pick it up, generally speaking. Now, in 19th century, many took up manual scavenging as well in England, right? Manual scavenging, which is banned in our country. And one of the reasons why it is banned is because you have this caste issue, right? People are being discriminated. People are considering manual scavenging. Again, it is going on in many different parts. It is illegal, but yes, people are pushing many people to clean this thing. And of course, when they are not doing, they are forcing someone else to do it. It is something that we know that it is considered a very lowly job. But in England, it was considered as a, you can say, a ticket to get rich. It was manual scavenging was a highly paid job, and people engaging in this manual scavenging job were known as gong farmers. They were known as gong farmers, and it was a ticket to get rich very quickly because you were paid this very good money over there. The other thing is, they were lucky enough. If we see from today's perspective or from this point of time, we find that they were lucky enough. They had this theory of miasma, right? And theory of miasma is basically smell, right? A very bad air, foul smell. And they used to believe at that point of time that all this disease like cholera and other diseases were rampant in their society because of this foul air, or miasmatic theory as they used to call it. It was miasmatic theory basically means that because of bad air you are getting this different diseases, and because of that people are dying over there. So you can see here there is a big hunt. People are smelling different things and trying to find out why we have this miasmatic or miasma, why it is spreading and things like that. But later on, this theory of miasma was subsequently proved wrong. It was basically the germs, right? They were, or germ theory, that was proved by this Pasteur and Koch. They came out with this germ theory, and today we know it very well. It is these germs that are causing us various we catch these diseases because of different germs in the air. Now this miasma, right, this theory of miasma or this belief in miasma created a good thing for them. They started thinking about this foul air, and they realized, and of course we know that this garbage and other things here and there, of course it is going to create this foul air. So they had this fear that if you have this garbage, if you don't sort out your garbage, if your surrounding is not clean, then you are going to get this cholera and other diseases. And because of that thing, they started thinking about, or their whole ideology changed. And if you go back in England, then you find since 1871 they had this full department that was looking after sanitation in the whole of United Kingdom. So this miasmatic theory, which was again a wrong theory. It was proved wrong later on, but it helped them. It basically changed their mindset. And here in our country, the big problem that we have is Ayurveda. It's a good thing, no doubt, but when we say, many times we say that Ayurveda has solutions for everything, right? It is a thing with our Indian culture that we believe this thing, that everything, all the scientific innovations, they have taken place back in history in our country. We have invented everything and things like that, but that is not right. Even our system, you cannot say it is foolproof or flawless, because Ayurveda, right? In Ayurveda, it is more about your internal mechanism. It is all about your internal thing rather than your external environment. So Ayurveda is, when it comes to germs and other things, you might have heard about this thing. I'm being very basic, right? I'm not being too technical here. Of course, I'm not a doctor. So, but I have heard this thing. I have discussed this sort of things with many times with some Ayurvedic doctors, and they say that you cannot get germs if you are internally strong and things like that. Of course, we have a resistance systems, but if you are exposed to a very bad environment, then there are high chances that not today, but after a week, you will get ill because there will be a limit as well of your body to fight this external attacks. So in our Ayurveda, we don't, or this environment, right, surrounding environment does not play a sort of significant role. It has a very insignificant role, and because of this thing, somewhere down the line, we have created this whole ideology that external thing, it could be bad, it's fine, but internal thing, we have to look after our internal mechanism, and external mechanism is not that important. And because of this thing, we see all this caste issues, like lower caste supposed to be cleaning our filth and other things, and this is one of the reason why it is becoming very difficult for us to change this ideology. So theory of miasma is something that we need here as well, and with this we can change, hopefully, this mindset. I hope things are clear to you. It was a bit challenging for me as well to break it down to this one. This particular topic is a very many a times you have to be very careful. I don't want to you can say offend anyone when I'm talking about Ayurveda or other things, but one thing is that ideology, or you can say this mindset, change in mindset is need of the hour, and it will become your base when you will discuss this Swachh Bharat, why it has, I'm not saying it has failed, but why it is not able to produce this result. This is a point that you can discuss. Moving on, Lalu Prasad gets 14 years of jail in the fourth Fodder case, and it's not just about Lalu Prasad, right? This is the story of our Indian politics. You don't have to remember how many years he has got and things like that. Even if you are from Bihar state, your exam, your state level exam, or your UPSC or national level exams, they won't ask you this sort of questions. But what is the hidden message behind this thing? Why this representative, or these people who represent us in this parliament and in legislative assemblies, why they are able to do all this sort of things, right? We talk about check and balances, what we read and study in our books, it's totally different. There is a big gap in our theory and in the practical side, and this is something that you have to observe on regular basis. When you read newspapers, you find many political articles as well. Like in today's newspaper, you will find Rahul Gandhi is saying something, then you will find some BJP members, they are saying something. So normally what happens that we skip those things, right? Of course, I cannot take all those news items on board, because then it would be a very lengthy discussion, 1 hour, 2 hour discussion, and that is something that is not necessary as well. We have to do a bit of self-study too, isn't it? So this sort of articles, you should have a quick glance over it, right? Just quickly go through the lines and go through important bits and pieces, and then try to connect this thing after reading newspaper. It depends how you are doing it. I'm just sharing a tip with you guys. You can take out some 5-10 minutes and think why they are doing this sort of things. Of course, they are not alone, and they are doing it for a very long period of time. Now here you see that a court has basically awarded this prison sentence to Lalu Prasad, but then we will find that he will go to some higher courts and Supreme Court, and then this case will go on forever and ever. We have this case of Jayalalitha, right? She is considered, she is very famous in Tamil Nadu, no doubt, right? She has done many good job as well. I'm not saying that she is thoroughly a waste. No, she has done many important things for many people in her state. But at the same time, right, she was also convicted for corruption. So this is a very paradox that we see, right? And this is something that is not acceptable in our society. And the reason why they are do it is because they are able to do it is because they are very good in making fool out of us. Particularly this people, uneducated people and other illiterate people, right? I'm not saying they don't have this common sense, but many a times when you are in such a state, when you are so poor, for you bread and butter is more important than your human rights and other things. And this is something that that is true as well. So when they are offering this freebies and other things, people, they don't have choice. They can understand, they do understand that these people are making fool out of them, but when they get something as freebie that can fill their tummy, they think that it is better to give these people their vote, and then they come to power and things like that. Moving on to another item, Kaveri panel may concede Karnataka's demand. You have this draft cabinet is ready. It is prepared by this Union Water Resource Ministry, and this is about this Kaveri Management Board. And in next Union Cabinet meeting, hopefully this will be discussed, and then we'll see that hopefully it will be passed or given a green signal by the Union Cabinet. You find this rivers, you have basically a big divide here. We have peninsular rivers, here, this rivers, and then we have Himalayan rivers. Now there is a big difference between Himalayan and peninsular river. Himalayan rivers, they are originating from this Himalaya, so in snowfall they have water. In summertime, when the snow is melting, they have water, and in the monsoon era period as well, they have water. So they are 24/7, you can say, perennial rivers. But here you have the seasonal rivers. These rivers are big rivers, but the water means their capacity may go up and down depending on monsoon. And nowadays we see this erratic monsoon, so we are seeing these problems as well between different states. We have talked about it, and you have this 4 states, or you can say 3 states and 1 union territory. So remember this thing, when it comes to Kaveri dispute, you have this Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, and we talked about this thing a couple of weeks ago when Supreme Court came out with its verdict, its judgment, and we also discussed different states. They had their own demands, and some states demand, like Karnataka's demand, Karnataka is going to get extra water nowadays from this Kaveri dispute, from this Kaveri river. Supreme Court has allotted extra water to Karnataka. A bit of chunk has been cut down from Tamil Nadu, and these are the necessary changes. Again, you don't have to remember these figures, but one thing is important, that most of the states are asking for water for agriculture, and we have discussed this thing, that nearly 70% of soft water usage is done by us for agriculture. This is not a sustainable way of agriculture. Moving on to another item, India and China. We are going to have this meeting, both the leaders, Prime Minister and President of China, the Xi Jinping and Mr. Modi, will meet in Qingdao, that is in China, and they are going to meet in June for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, which is a big thing for India as well as for China. Now, Prime Minister gave a phone call to Mr. Xi Jinping because he got re-elected as a president, and we are saying that post-Doklam, both the countries are trying to sort out this big cracks that have developed in this relationship between India and China. And we have also seen many high-level meetings taking place between both these countries in near future. In this April 13th and 14th, we are also going to see Niti Aayog is going to meet with this National Development and Reform Commission, which is a think tank of China. And then we are talking about Doklam as well, and a statement has been given by Gautam Bambavle. He has talked about this Doklam. He has offered or presented India's view that we have this 3,488, or roughly speaking 3,500 kilometer long line of actual control between India and China. It is undemarcated, it is unmarked, you can say. So now this is the time we have offered that we should mark a proper line, so we don't find this issues between India and China. But China at present is not ready for this demarcation of this LAC. Damaged reef. Now, coral reef, this is I believe for the 3rd consecutive Sunday we are talking about coral reef. So I'm not going into the detail of bleaching. If you are new to this discussion, then of course I have added a couple of details here so that you can understand what bleaching is all about. There are many different factors through which we find bleaching is going on. Coral reefs are basically very important. They are just like tropical jungles, right, or tropical forest, but this one is submarine. So they are important for, let me show you a picture here. You can see there are, of course this one is a bleached one, but if you see the proper one, then you find that there are so many species of different size fish and other creatures, right, marine creatures. They depend on this coral reef. So they are this just like tropical jungles. They maintain this biodiversity of marine life. Now, you find this melon butterfly fish in Lakshadweep waters, and they have means when you have this few options on the menu, then you could basically, you won't be that fussy, isn't it? When you are too hungry and when you have limited food, you won't be fussy about taste and things. You will just take whatever it is available. So something similar is going on with this melon butterfly fish as well. Because of this bleaching and because of this damaged coral reefs, they have adopted or they have changed their food habit. They are going here and there, and they find whatever they can, and they have changed their menu as well a little bit. This has been studied by scientists, but that does not mean that they will survive, or it is a secure thing for their future, because this short-term reliance may not guarantee their long-term survival. So keep this name in your mind, this melon butterfly fish. Moving on to another item. Now MIT, that is Massachusetts Institute of Technology, they have basically scientists, they have developed a device that can extract water from moisture in the air. This is not new, Israel has also, but this one is a small device, and even in the driest of the region like desert, you can extract this moisture, and then you can extract moisture, means water, from this moisture, and you can use it. So this is a good invention, and this is something that unfortunately we all would require in future, because the way things are going on at present with our climate is a big thing. You have this TB patients in our country, and a fourth of Indian TB patients. We have 25% of TB population in our country, right? So 1/4 TB patients are living in our country, and out of this 1/4, you find fourth of them, like every 1% out of 4% in our country, is going to have this drug resistant TB, which is a very dangerous thing. So Uttar Pradesh is number 1, and then you have different states here. So just have a quick glance over it now. And interesting news, but again it is very sad. Nearly 150 beached whales die in Australia. This is Western Australia, this is Perth. So if you are not sure, here is Australia. So you can see this is Indian Ocean here, right? This is Indian Ocean, this side is more, this is Pacific Ocean, and this is Indian Ocean water. So you have this Hamelin Bay, and on this Hamelin Bay you find this scenario, right? 150 whales have died. And at present, let me tell you one thing, that we are not sure what exactly causes these whales to beach. They come over to on the beach side. Many people say that this is because of this navigational error that they make, and because of this gentle sloping beaches. You have this, say for example, this is a beach, so you have this gentle sloping beach. So by mistake they come here, right? They're traveling, and then they reach here in this portion, so they cannot go back. And this is one of the reasons many people are saying that it is a way of doing suicide by whales. We still don't know, but this sort of things are going on in different parts of the world. So remember this thing. Now you have this Mount Etna. Mount Etna is in Italy. Let me show you where exactly it is. This is Italy here, this is Mediterranean Sea, and this is Sicily. This Sicily here, and here somewhere here you find this Mount Etna. It is the most active volcano of Europe, and many times it has been in news because whenever it is erupted, you find this whole European flights, most of the European countries flights, they come to a standstill, and scientists are saying that it is moving towards this whole Sicily is edging in the direction of Mediterranean Sea at the rate of 14 millimeter per year. So this will increase this hazards, and more volcanic activities can take place here. That's everything in today's discussion, and I will see you all soon. Enjoy your Ram Navami. Jai Hind.